Hey, it says I'm live. I didn't even know that. But evidently I am. So, how's everybody out there? How you guys doing today? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope that you're enjoying your lives, having some fun, doing good things. I remember this program that was called My Name is Earl, kind of a comedy, but there was a lot to it. His favorite saying was, do good things and good things happen. So, I kind of key on that because it's true. I mean, you create that kind of an atmosphere, that kind of a vibe, and it seems to just draw good things into your circle, good circumstances, good people, just good things, right? Good brings good. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this situation with the criminal justice system in the United States. It's obviously not a good system because it has such poor results. Um, that's why I think avoidance is the best strategy, is just to follow the three main rules. Don't hurt anybody, don't take anything that isn't yours, and don't deal drugs. It's pretty simple. If you do or don't do those three things, then you're not likely to end up in any kind of a jail cell or a prison. And I think that's pretty important. If we could just train ourselves somehow to avoid those behaviors, just to go on a different mental path when we find ourselves, being tempted or being pulled into those kind of activities. It's probably it's probably good to premeditate on how to avoid getting pulled into those situations. And I think you've got to start out. Yeah, I think you've got to start when people are young, because when we're teenagers and we're already looking at what we think is right and what our goals are, and who are we really listening to? I didn't listen to anybody. I had lots of people that intervened in my life, and they were good people, and they meant very well. But did I listen to them? No, no. I think our ears get closed when we're in our teens and probably in our 20s, maybe up to our late 30s or early 40s before we gather up enough experience in life to know what's what and who is who. So, yeah, it's better to get in early than to go through all the twists and turns and have to deal with the consequences of all of that later on, because nobody wants to deal with the consequences of going to prison for a long-term sentence, or even being in jail. Even going for a few hours or for a day is a pretty traumatic experience. And I was just talking to a friend of mine. He's in Terminal Island. I was talking earlier today, a fellow by the name of Mike. And, previously Mike said, I'm not ready to get out. I know I'm not ready because I'll end up getting right back into what I was into. He was, dealing drugs and stuff. And I'll end up going right back in anyway. So I might as well just stay and ride this out. And, it got me to thinking that probably there are some people who just feel more comfortable being in jail or in prison than they do being free. And to me, that's just a real tragedy, because there's no comparison, none whatsoever, between being free and being held captive by other human beings. There's just no comparison in my mind. I mean, who wants to be subjugated? Who wants to be thrown into such a nasty and ugly environment? I mean, there's just, I don't know. I don't know how to deal with it. If anybody knows or can give me any kind of insight on how to deal with it. Hey, Dundee, yeah, I'd rather be out. I'd rather be out at 100 billion centillion times. Rather be out than in. Mr. X. Yeah, who wants to be the victim of a crime? That's true too. I mean, if somebody was saying to themselves, look, I know as soon as I get out, I'm going to hurt somebody or I'm going to do this dastardly deed. Yeah, then please go ahead and stay in until you don't feel that way anymore, until you can get your head together. But yeah, interesting. Who wants to be the victim of a crime? Nobody. I mean, yeah. I mean, the victims are, it's a wide range of victims when we go to prison or jail, right? It's not, a lot of us, we kind of hold ourselves out to be the victims. We want to violate everybody else's rights, but then we want our rights. We demand that our rights be respected when we go through the process. Kind of a double standard, but that's the way human nature is, right? We want leniency for ourselves, but when others are, up for punishment or what you'd call retribution or revenge or whatever, we want to take it to the nth degrees, and it's just another part of the human psyche, the collective human psyche, that isn't quite right. So we need to work on all that. Hey, Guns and Family. Yeah, we're doing good over here, brother. Doing good. Hanging in there. Just putting one foot in front of the other, moving forward slowly, deliberately, trying to enjoy everything as it happens, which is really the object of my life anyway, is just to relax, enjoy my freedom. There's a lot of memories, there's a lot of baggage that goes along with being locked up for so long, but like Dundee's saying, best day in prison is like your worst day breathing fresh air or outside the walls. But I can't really remember a good day in prison because I was against it from the beginning. No, I don't get high. I drink a few beers every now and then. Occasionally I'll take CBD, but man, I've got certain medications, but I usually don't take those unless it's like a really serious thing, really serious pain or whatever, Tylenol 3 and stuff like that. But no, I don't get high. I get high on life. I get high on fresh air. I get high on walking in the wilderness or hanging out with my wife and my dogs. And there's a lot of things that elevate me, but I'm not a druggie. I'm not an addict. I've been free about a little over 2 years now. I did go to a halfway house 6 months early, but, I didn't survive the halfway house. It was up in New Hampshire. So they sent me back like 3 weeks out, and then I was released September 30th of 2021. Hello, Sheena. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, there's nothing there, Mr. X. It's like, okay, I'm gonna burn up some more brain cells. I mean, I already lost too many already, so I got to be careful about it. Plus, I am on supervised release, so they kind of frown on that stuff. Well, guns and family, I don't mind you asking anything, anybody asking anything. Um, it affects me in a way because I have really vivid memories about some of the events that occurred while I was in the ADX Supermax in Florence. And, I was subjected to actual torture. I was, I, not just theoretical stuff, actual physical torture that dislocated my shoulder, tore the pectoral muscles off of my breastbone. Um, I almost died several times. And, um, once you've been through something like that, once you've been subjected to actual physical torture at the hands of others, uh, yeah, just kind of, I don't know how you get over that. Um, and I already had the PTSD when I got to Florence, and I think it was just made worse by all of those other circumstances that I ran into. Dundee, I was over there for almost 14 years. Originally, they had sent me there for 5 years, 16 months in the control unit. And, they wanted me to program and jump through these hoops, but they didn't carry me very well. And at the same time, I was protesting, the things that I did, the mutilations and so forth. That was all a protest against the Bureau of Prisons and the way that they were treating some prisoners, including myself, who had mental issues like PTSD. And there was a lot of guys there that had deeper mental issues, schizophrenia and so forth. And they weren't giving them, if they were in the control unit, they weren't giving them any consideration or treatment whatsoever. So, yeah, Mr. X, I got sent there because I escaped from another facility, and I think I think escape pisses the Bureau of Prisons off more than anything else. I think it makes them really, really, really mad. Probably more than anything else, because it's a big embarrassment. So I don't think I deserve. Here's the thing, guns and family. A lot of what I was subjected to was stuff that, I mean, I never put a human being in, uh, you know, manacles and a black box and a martin chain and leg irons, and I've never held anybody in a cage at any time against their will or otherwise. I've never chained somebody down to a steel and concrete slab of concrete and stretched them out in a high stress position and left them there for 7 days to, you know, defecate on themselves and piss on themselves and nearly die from dehydration and so forth. I've never done that to anybody. So, some of the crimes that were committed against me, I considered to be far worse than any of the crimes that I committed. So it seemed like they kind of had a license. Yeah, it pisses them off if you escape. If it's a walk away from a camp or something, yeah, that's. But you guys got to keep looking at the chronicles because I'm gonna be telling you about the escape. I think I'm already I think I'm already just about up to the escape. Uh, so that's going to be like, I think Chronicle 36, 37, 38. It's going to talk about that. Yeah, you can't. At the ADX, you're not going to be able to see other prisoners regularly because the cells are arranged so that they don't face each other. But you can see other prisoners at certain times, like when you go out for rec. But otherwise, yeah, you're kind of sealed off. You don't you don't get visual contact with anyone other than staff. Mr. X, who was the scariest convict I ever came across in the control unit? Um, I don't know. There were a number of people that were pretty fucked up mentally. They were like, I'm sure that, I mean, their brains were just fried with thoughts of dastardly deeds that they would commit against others. Like earlier was discussed, if they did get out of prison, some of those fellas weren't the type of guys that you'd want living next door to you, or really, if you care about anybody anywhere, you really just wouldn't want them out there because they're going to be doing something. Yeah, guns and family. I'm not going to get compensated. The ADX litigation was a big class action lawsuit, and at the last minute, the White Shoe law firm, Arnold and Porter, the fellow that was representing that case, Ed Arrow, ran into some trouble with the feds, and they kind of blackmailed him into settling that case out for no compensation. So, the named plaintiffs in that case, and I was one of them. I was actually the face of the case, so to speak. We didn't get a dime, and we won't get a dime now. Yeah, the Chronicles, Dundee, I've got to touch them up a little bit. I've got to do something to, on the thumbnail and all that. Maybe throw some titles up there. I don't know how they're coming out, honestly. But I appreciate you guys following along, and your comments and everything are very valuable because it helps me to stay motivated and keep on track. But I'm going to keep telling that story. Clayton Fountain was at Springfield. They kept him in, a special cell that they had built for him at USP Springfield, Missouri. And after he died, I was actually put in that cell once. I never actually came in contact with him. But at one time I was at a unit that was right across from his cell. I mean, that's about the closest that they were going to let anybody get. They had him isolated so that only staff could get to him. But, he had a pretty decent, I mean, as far as cells go, I mean, it was roomy and, well, I don't know if he was mad or bad. I can't be a judge of people generally. I'm not going to put myself in that position. I think that he probably came to the point at somewhere along the line where he regretted what he did. I'm not sure of that because a lot of guys will continue to justify just to, keep their ego intact. They'll continue to justify why they did what they did. I just don't know. And I did know Tommy Silverstein Dundee slightly. I had seen him a couple of times just in passing. Never really had any long or extended conversations with him. Just, a nod and how's it going? Stuff like that as he was being walked down the hallway out of the Range 13 area, which was the segregated housing unit there in C block in the ADX. So, it's like the control unit, but it's a little more amplified for Range 13. There's 3 cells, and they're really isolated, and they got their own little backyard, but it's just a door that opens from the cell. They can walk out there. The door closes. They're out there for a while. The door opens. They go back in. The door closes. So, it's a lot of monotony, a lot of just straight out boredom, I guess. I know they said, my wife and I were looking and we saw that Tommy died at a hospital up near Denver, St. Andrew's Hospital, and it was a result of complications of heart surgery, but that doesn't make any sense to me. There's no way in the world that they would take Tommy Silverstein to an outside hospital, especially a private hospital up south of Denver. It's just not going to happen. Hey, Dave. Good to hear from you, man. How's it going for you? It's going good over here, Dave. We're doing good, man. We're currently shooting a few scenes for this upcoming documentary. I'm working and trying to keep things, trying to keep all the plates spinning. Yeah, guns. I don't have the spirit of vengeance in my heart. It's like, I'm not going to carry that around. It's more for my own peace of mind, that's what's most valuable to me, is having peace of mind. Not carrying around a lot of guilt, not carrying around a lot of anger or anguish or anxiety or need for revenge or whatever. I worked my way through all that stuff before I was ever released. And, it's not to say that reliving some of this doesn't bring up some of those feelings or emotions again, but, that's just the way it is. I mean, it dissipates fairly quickly. And, that's just how I've retrained my brain to process this shit. Anyway, we're at about 25 minutes or so. My battery is going down a little bit. I'm going to wrap this up in a minute or two, but I appreciate each one of you out there. I just encourage you to continue doing good things, doing the right things. Just stay focused, stay motivated as much as you can. Enjoy your lives. Enjoy your families, your friends, your loved ones. Do good things, and good things will happen. And the rest of it is kind of self-explanatory, right? We're not children. We can learn new things. I hope we don't still poop our pants. So, everything's good. Everything's great. So, I'll see you guys the next time, and we'll click up another live here next week, and just keep viewing the Chronicles. I'm going to keep putting them out. I'm going to put a couple more out this afternoon, and then tomorrow I'll probably hit a couple more. And, I'll just keep telling this story. And I appreciate you so much Appreciate you guys being loyal viewers and subscribers, and I'll catch you again soon.